Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one, Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James, second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Good morning, Cavs fans. First time we're coming to you in the morning. Welcome to the Block the Shot to Stop podcast. I'm Kevin Lynch here with Skylar Webker. Had just kind of a crazy night last night, and so we actually, instead of going live right after the game, are coming to you first thing the next morning. We hope everybody can still join us on your drive to work, your drive home. So our apologies for that, but here we are, ready to talk some Cavs. And Skylar, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the last undefeated team in the NBA.
Boy, last night was a great night for the Cavs. I mean, winning, Thunder losing, Celtics losing.
That's all you can want. And in the big scheme of things, the Thunder losing really doesn't matter, except it's really cool to say that this distinction of the Cavs are the last undefeated team in the NBA. Yeah, Celtics losing, that is more impactful because everything the Cavs, even early in the season, everything the Cavs can do now to separate themselves from the Celtics and the rest of the field, like, will come in handy later, because as good as this Cavs team is, the vibes and the good times probably aren't going to be this good all year long. So ride it while you can, right?
Yeah, I know. I feel like we keep saying that, like, oh, it's not going to last forever, and they just keep winning.
Yes, it's true. I think we're just naturally bracing ourselves for something. We're protecting ourselves.
You're saying we're Ohio sports fans?
Yeah, probably. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the game last night. The Pelicans were overall shorthanded, but they did have Zion, they did have Ingram. So it was a good test for the Cavs, and probably as much as just about any game this season, they got really high-level contributions from each of the big four. What did you think about with, our group of stars? Did any one of them stand out to you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody, like you said, gave an even level of contribution. I know we were down in some portions of that game, but we're really able to rally together and finish the second quarter strong and the third quarter strong to push this game to the point where you felt comfortable enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, all the big four had at least 14 points and were, either significant contributors in assists and rebounds. I kind of do want to start with Jarrett Allen, because I mean, he's just Mr. Consistent. He, especially on the defensive end, grabbing boards, and then seeing his scoring definitely has ticked up from last year, and scores in the games you need him to. And he was going against, the Pelicans have a lot of size, a lot more girth than he does with Zion, and he's still 16 points, 14 rebounds, and in 35 minutes.
Yeah, and I think he had he only had 2 blocks. Mobley had 3 blocks. But you're right. They have different big men in the sense of Zion, who's basically a freight train when he gets ahead of steam. And then you have Brandon Ingram, who's a really good stretch big. So I think Jarrett Allen held his own last night against both those guys. He had a huge block against Zion. He had a huge block later in the game. He's just been getting the blocks game after game, especially the last game against Milwaukee, that huge block against Dame.
Yeah, I think when people talk about the most exciting play in basketball, the big block doesn't usually come up. Usually, people want to talk about dunks or threes or this or that. But I think a good block, some of them where either kind of rubber hand somebody or pins them on the backboard, to me, that's as exciting as any play I see all game.
Yeah, it absolutely is true. Maybe because we had the LeBron pin blocks through the years. But I agree. Just seeing a good rubber arm block or a pin backboard block gets you real fired up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kind of next guy going down the line, Donovan Mitchell. He was very aggressive. It seems like every other game, Donovan, like one game he comes out super aggressive, another game he kind of like picks his spots and everything. But tonight was definitely a night he looked to be aggressive and take advantage of the fact that the Pelicans backcourt was injured and not playing tonight.
Yeah, he had a post-game comment about how we're the number 2 team in the league in drives and dead last in the league in getting fouls or getting to the free throw line, which is really surprising to hear Donovan Mitchell kind of call out officiating like that.
Yeah,
even said in the interview, like, I'm probably going to get fined for saying this, but he's not wrong. I mean, this between him and Garland, Niang had a drive, and Ty Jerome has been driving. To be as aggressive as they are and not be getting to the free throw line, I don't know. Some math doesn't add up there.
No, I agree. It's usually, or at least it should be, the more aggressive team shoots more free throws. The Cavs, they are they're not like a new team or just coming up, but all their guys, maybe except for Mitchell a little bit, definitely don't get star treatment by the refs and everything. So I can see why that would be frustrating. But the more impressive and important thing is they just keep playing through it. You could see the frustration on several of the players last night, but they didn't do the thing where they just stopped on a play or, got a technical that really hurt the team at a time they couldn't have it. Like they can voice their frustration without without quitting on a play and letting it hurt their team.
Yeah. And I think that's, I mean, we give Kenny his flowers all the time, but I mean, that's what a mature professional basketball team does. They don't sit and cry about missed calls or fouls or anything like that. They play through it. They're playing to win these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of wrapping up the starters and going down, like one thing that like really impresses me with this team is a performance like Darius Garland last night, where he's coming off of a huge game. He's had a couple huge games, and the next game he still maintains patience and picks his spots and doesn't go out like, just jacking up shots. Like last night, he only took 10 shots. He was 5 for 10 for 14 points, but he had 9 assists, set up Allen several times in the paint, Mitchell as well. And it's so impressive to me that they can, everyone kind of picks their spots, lets each other pick their spots, but then doesn't force the issue is totally okay with it being someone else's night.
Yeah, that's very impressive for this team, is that no one is a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Like they have levels to their games. Like tonight I can be a playmaker. You need me to go get 40 tomorrow? I can do that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a couple of guys. I actually want to start with Karis LeVert off the bench. Karis missed the last couple games, was having a minor knee issue, and then tonight you could see why he's so important to this team. 16 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds in 28 minutes on a night where they didn't have Dean Wade. They had a little bit of foul trouble and probably needed him to play more than they were intending for his first game back. But you could see LeVert is a huge part of this team off the bench.
Absolutely. I mean, we say it every week. He's the 6th man of the year. And you could tell that they were missing that in those 2 close games with Milwaukee. And then you get him back, and it's a double-digit win. We're close to a double-digit win. You're back up to 130 a game, which is incredible. He's just shooting the lights out this year.
Yeah, he is. And your guy, Ty Jerome, I mean, another really, really good game, especially I believe it was in the second quarter that he was really making hay. And just seems like every time you're like, is this Ty Jerome thing? Is this kind of a flash in the pan? Like this, especially with these guys who have been a little bit of journeymen in the league, haven't really found their place, but like he seems to have carved out a pretty consistent niche with the Cavs, and he seems like he has a good game almost every game.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like it's so good to see him come back from injury and play the way that he's playing. Even on the nights where he doesn't have the best scoring numbers, he does the Isaac Okoro stuff where he digs out loose balls. He forces turnovers. He doesn't have like the box score stats, but he has the positive impact on a game. And that's awesome. That's so awesome to see.
Yeah, no, it really is. And then I did, before we turn pages away from this game, like did want to talk about the Pelicans for a minute. I was actually impressed with their effort level last night. They had 3 or 4 guys out, and Zion, I believe, was like a game time call, but he ended up playing. And they were pretty good. I mean, this team has so much talent. It's a little bit dysfunctional with Brandon Ingram and what's going to go on with him. I believe you said you weren't familiar with Jose Alvarado still being in the NBA, and then he had 27 points.
Yeah, he took that out on me.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on Pelicans, or would you just like to apologize to Jose Alvarado?
I'd like to apologize to Jose Alvarado. Like I said, was not familiar that he was still in the league, and he showed out last night. Holy cow. He was just such a pesky guy, getting steals, hitting big buckets. I was kind of jealous of that.
He's one of those guys that can be really valuable and really enjoyable to be on your team, and probably like all other 29 teams and their fan bases will hate him. But yeah, no, he had a really good night. Zion was really good. Zion was also, I think last night was a game I think everyone was frustrated by the refs a little bit, like and usually when that happens it just means it's kind of a weird game. But Zion was really good, looked good last night, looked athletic. I hope he stays healthy because he really is an incredibly enjoyable player to watch, and I hope the Pelicans get healthy, but as we said, you play who's on your schedule, and if somebody has their backcourt out or anything like that, Cavs need to take care of business, and they do. They just continually take care of their business.
Absolutely. Question for you.
Yeah.
Are you concerned with the Cavs fouls or foul troubles? Because last night, I think it was 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Evan Mobley picked up his 6th.
Yeah, he did. We've talked about this some on the pod, that you want all of your players available down the stretch of close games, right? And when people get in foul trouble and or foul out, like Mobley did last night, that doesn't happen. So I would say overall, I'm mildly concerned. I am very concerned in games where both Mobley and Allen have any issues with fouls, because they, the team hasn't been willing to go to Tristan Thompson yet to really play any meaningful minutes. There really is no other centers on the roster besides those 3. And so until they either are willing to play Tristan more or improve their depth at center, I particularly look anytime Mobley or Allen get in foul trouble. And last night I was panicked when Mobley fouled out, and I knew Allen had at least 4, maybe 5 at that point. And 5. I was like, what happens if both of them go out? Like, what do they do?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely mildly concerned overall, but particularly concerned when it's our 2 big guys.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't actually know that. I knew Allen got in foul trouble early, but then kind of cleaned it up. But now looking at the box score, 6 on Mobley, 5 on Allen. We were real close to a very bad situation.
Yeah, and in fairness, we called up before. Jarrett Allen getting in foul trouble is rare, and Mobley, frankly, has gotten in foul trouble several games this year, as has Garland. But I'm for being the first time both of them are in foul trouble, I'm willing to chalk it up to the Zion effect. I mean, Zion was going to the whole really aggressively and it kind of resulted in Mobley getting foul trouble, Allen getting in foul trouble, and Zion picking up some fouls. He had at least one, I think maybe 2 charges that were called against him.
Yeah.
So for now, I'll chalk it up as a Zion effect, but definitely something to kind of keep your eye on with this team.
No doubt, and especially coming with the Warriors coming to town, that's something that they love to pick up easy fouls.
Oh yeah, no, and that's a good transition. We can go ahead and talk about the Warriors in that game. I mean, Warriors are really good. 7-1 now, and they'll be coming off a road victory against Boston. They're 7-1 despite Curry missed, I think, 3 games with an ankle sprain. He's back now. Actually had a big night last night. 27 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. This is going to be a really tough matchup for the Cavs, and maybe the first time this season that can kind of go head to head with their depth against the Cavs. It's usually an advantage for the Cavs is their depth, but frankly, Golden State might have just as good a depth, if not better.
Yeah, I think this game coming in is going to be a real test because like you said, the depth. They have the NBA golden boy and Steph Curry. So you know that he's going to get to the free throw line. And they have shooters, especially around the perimeter. And that's something that we have questioned with this Cavs defense is their perimeter defense.
Yeah, for sure. And this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I do think the Warriors, like in most games, are going to have the advantage on the inside with Mobley and Allen. And I think that is something they can do to kind of offset some of Golden State shooting. I think a really important thing in this game, look for turnovers because both of these teams like to get out in transition. And I think if one team has significantly more turnovers than the other, that could be a really indicative sign of who's going to win. But this would be a fun matchup. It's always fun when you get 2 teams that want to run, want to score. They're 2 of the top scoring teams in the NBA. I think they're 2 of the 3 or 4 that are averaging over 120 points a game right now. So I'm expecting as fun, if not more fun than any game we've seen this season Friday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like every week we say this will be the test. This will be the test, and this Cavs team keeps stepping up. We said, all right, going to Milwaukee on a back-to-back is going to be a test. Won that one. Playing Milwaukee 2 times in a row is going to be a test. Won that one. One against the Knicks. One against the Lakers. So I think, I think they're up for it, and we'll just see how Kenny Atkinson evolves this offense and evolves this team coming in.
Yeah. Well, I got good news for you, Skylar, because I do think Golden State is a really big test for the Cavs. But after Golden State, their schedule kind of levels off a little bit. They played the Bulls a couple of times, the Nets, the Hornets, and Philadelphia, who's just been a total mess this year. So their next handful of games after this may be a time that we're not saying that as much. But yeah, as far as Friday goes, Steph Curry's still one of, if not the most fun player to watch in the NBA. He's one of my favorite, opposing players. Obviously, there's all kinds of history with Golden State, even if pretty much all those Cavs players are gone except for Tristan.
Tristan Thompson's back.
Yeah, he's holding it down. And it's a Friday night. It's in Rocket Mortgage, and I expect it to be an awesome game and an awesome environment.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope the crowd gets on. I mean, it's a rowdy crowd. This town is thriving for winners. We saw with the Guardians playoff games how incredible those stadiums were. Tim was at the Lakers game, and it was incredible there. Even in a blowout win, they're hooting and hollering and cheering for Bronny, and I think it's going to be an electric crowd.
Yeah, I absolutely. One other thing I wanted to ask to you, as far as concern goes, because when you're 9-0 and things are going this well, maybe we're looking for problems. Definitely don't mean to be. I'm enjoying this like as much as I possibly can, but I think 3 of the last 4 games, the Cavs have actually gotten down early, which was the opposite of the first couple weeks of the season when they were actually jumping on teams in the first quarter. Have you noticed that? And have you maybe had any reasons for that? 3 of the last 4 games, they have been down at the end of the first quarter or halftime by 8 or more points. So has that jumped out to you at all? Like kind of all of a sudden the Cavs having slow starts?
Yeah, it's been different for sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed it in the sense of like getting a little concerned, getting a little shaky in the game. And then, they go on a Cavalanche run and, hit 40 in the third quarter. But I do think that against this Warriors team who can put up just as many shots and points as you, they can't afford to be down early.
That's a great call out because that is the difference. Some of these teams, Orlando without Paolo Banchero, Milwaukee in one of those games without Giannis, New Orleans with their injuries and everything. Those are teams you can come back against. They are not the most proficient offensive teams right now. Golden State is. Golden State's offense is humming, and it's hard to get down double digits and comfortably come back when you have that good a scoring team on the other side. So just another thing to kind of look out for. Again, not looking for problems. I'm looking for just how we can keep this going as long as possible because we could all use these vibes in our life.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is not a game you want to be playing catch up all night. You gotta be the leader on this. And who knows? Maybe some of the post-game comments from Donovan Mitchell will help their case as far as getting to the line.
Maybe good time to call it out going against when you're about to go up against a Warriors team in a really tough matchup at home. That's a good time to try and ask for more calls.
Yeah.
But last thing I wanted to wrap with is, every week or so, I kind of just want to check in on, especially early in the season, check in about like Coach Atkinson and some of the things he's doing. We've laid a lot of praise on him, deservingly so, and his scheme and everything. But now that we've seen things implemented, the thing that's sticking out to me is his consistency. Like he is kind of staying with similar rotations, similar strategies, game plans, game to game. And I think like in the past, the Cavs tried too much a game plan for their opponent instead of just maximize what they do well. And now that we're doing that, it's like, we're like, who cares what the opponent's doing? Because if we're playing at our highest level, it's not going to matter. And he's been right so far.
That's such a good call out by you. Yeah, I didn't really think about it until you said it, but yeah, he's coaching in let's be the best version of ourselves, where before it's coaching to how do we outplay the next guy or the team coming in. That's such a good. I can't agree with you more. Kenny Atkinson having this change in philosophy on the coaching is shown that it's working and working well, but also just instills like confidence into fans and everybody else that we are the team to beat. They're trying to beat us. We're not trying to beat them.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot, and you're right, and definitely confidence with players too, right? They know like this is how we're going to play. This is the rotation that we do. These are the amount of minutes I'm going to play. If they need me a little bit more than normal, I'm ready to step up. But yeah, I like it, and I like it particularly for this team because the big not criticism, but I guess question with this Cavs team the last couple of years has been, do the pieces fit? You have really good players, but will they play well together? And this is far and away the most they have played kind of collaboratively, really lifted each other up instead of, frankly, in the past, kind of like bumping into each other and everything. And you have to, since it's the only thing that changed, you have to give the coaching staff a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, it's been such a breath of fresh air, and love seeing this team roll.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think we've passed out plenty of flowers. We've talked about this. We're super excited for the Warriors game Friday night. We will definitely be live post game after that one. So please join us if you're around. Like, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Follow us on all socials. We really appreciate all of our listeners, but I don't even know if you're aware of this, Skylar. We now have listeners in, I think, 6 different countries, which I just think is really cool. So
we're global.
Thank you. Yeah, no, but we really do appreciate it. Our kind of, I don't know what our expectations were for engagement when we first started this, but whatever they were, they're exceeding them. We're getting way more kind of people listening, watching, reaching out than we originally thought, and we appreciate it. Keep coming along. It's going to be a really fun season. So
absolutely.
With that, on behalf of Skylar Webker, I'm Kevin Lynch. Thank you for joining the Block the Shot the Stop podcast, and have a good night.
Go Cavs.
This is